Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Aquaponics World. So I got all kinds of stuff going on now. Like I said last week, I got my seeds germinated for my summer squash growing here in the winter time. They are greening up quite nicely. I got those here. The plant is still looking wilted a little bit. I don't remember, those are monstrous something or other. The fish tank is red, and I think this is from the aquaponics fertilizer, because this was never an issue before I started doing the aquaponics fertilizer. And because I am doing food, I'm gonna have to start dechlorinizing my water naturally or organically without the water conditioner. So stay tuned on how I'm gonna be doing that. Honestly, guys, to be real with you, I was not really prepared for my seeds to be germinating. I probably should have dechlorinated my water a week ago. I am probably going to go ahead and not throw those squash away, but I'm not going to be eating those squash, the first three squash that I grew. What I'll do is I'll germinate some more, and I have plenty of those peat pellets, and I'm pretty happy with those. But I'm going to go ahead and fill up some totes with some tap water, and I'm going to let them sit for about a week before I do this. So yeah, this is going to be a tricky one today. I'm going to have to dechlorinize water and clean this tank today. I guess the first thing is to get rid of this. So I had rinsed my new germinated squash roots off in this to get rid of the peat moss. And I wish I'd used rock wool, and I wish I had rinsed it off in the sink instead of in this. But now I'm going to go ahead and carry this tank with this water down to the shower, or take it outside and dump this out and clean it all out. Well, it's decided. I am going to go ahead and grow those squash in the Kratky system. That's right, folks. I am going to attempt the legendary Kratky system. And if you haven't checked out Kratky's YouTube channel, go check him out. Kratky, he is so awesome, man. He takes no credit for creating his system. He said that he learned it from somebody else. He even gave his name in a couple of his videos. But the legendary Kratky system suggests that you don't have to add water for a long time. You don't have to have a bubbler. You don't have to have any pumps. You know, just completely off the grid growing. And the only trick is just adding a little bit of water and making sure you don't cover up the air roots. So we'll see if I can do it. Stay tuned for the Kratky system. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill up this fish tank here with water. And since it doesn't have the fish in it, I don't need to worry about the chlorine in there. I'm just going to put the plants in there, and I'm going to tie them to the ceiling like I was. Hopefully I can get something a little bit more sturdy than tape to hold it up to the ceiling, but I'm basically going to try to keep the air roots out of the water, so hopefully I won't really be doing anything with this plant for maybe a month or two, and then I'll just be adding a little tiny bit of water. So this would be really cool if we can get this going. I'm not too sure about the light. I think I may just use the lights, the grow light. I may just use that for right now. Unfortunately, I'm assuming that this may not work on my first three squash that I have already, because I've already put their roots into this water and completely submerged their roots. So their air roots are not getting air, and what Kratky says is that once the air roots have been covered by water, they stop working as air roots. But we'll just see. We'll see what happens. Maybe I can grow some new air roots, or maybe some new air roots will maybe some new water roots will turn into air roots, if you know what I'm saying. It's kind of complicated, really, for the easiest way to grow. It's a little bit complicated, but altogether, it is the easiest way that I've ever seen anyone grow anything. One problem with this is that I don't have a dark enclosure for the roots. That is definitely not part of the Kratky system. I may have to do some water change outs once a week, but not a problem. I kind of want to see my roots. All right, well, what we got here is 3 summer squash growing indoors. I am going to add some hydroponic fertilizer to this for right now. I really wanted to do some aquaponics, but since this is the aquaponics channel, but I am going to do hydroponics with this one because I have not stopped using the water conditioner for my fish tank. So give me another week and I'll get this fish tank going without water conditioner, and then I'll germinate some more seeds and get back to the aquaponics. But we're just going to test out a Kratky system real quick and see how it works. So I just got my grow light sitting back here. Hope it doesn't get too hot back there. I probably need to hang that from the ceiling, but I don't really have anything to hang it from at the moment, and I got it kind of dim anyways. So these are going to be hydroponics, so I'm going to be using the hydroponics fertilizer for that. But again, this plant right here and these plants right here are aquaponics, and the goal is to remove the ammonia from the water so that I don't have to do water change outs. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to top this off and get an ammonia test on the water and see how it's doing, and add some of this to these, add some I'm going to be adding some fertilizer to this. So what's cool about this hydroponic fertilizer is it has different rates for different states. So the cutting and seedling rate is 1/4 teaspoon per gallon. So since I have about a 20-gallon tank, that is going to be 20 divided by 4, so 5 teaspoons of the green one. And then of the purple one, it's going to be same thing, 5 teaspoons. Same thing of the pink one, 5 teaspoons. And that'll change up as it goes to general purpose, mild vegetation, aggressive growth. It'll get more and more of each, so, and then back down a little bit. All right, so I've added my nutrients to this, and these seedlings are, let's see, probably about 4 days old, total about a week old. And this is where they're at right now in comparison, to my hand. They're pretty small, but they're already greened up because I've had the grow light on them. I've been growing them in here, fully submerged. Now I'm just gonna try to maintain the water level on this. Try not to do too much other than add fertilizer once a week. I will probably do a water change out just to keep the algae down, but we'll see. Last time I had a pump and a bubbler and kept it in a dark bucket, so doing everything wrong on this one, but we'll see what happens. And I guess what I'm going to do with this mess over here is I am going to clean this and use some of the water conditioner to replace some of the water in this, drain out some water and replace some water, do a water change out on this. And at the same time, I'm going to start letting some water sit out for a week so that it can lose its ammonia. Get rid of its chlorine, and then I won't need to use the water conditioner anymore. But yeah, I should have been thinking about this water conditioner issue before. I did want to grow fruits and vegetables with this aquaponics system, but I just didn't think I would actually get the fish to stay alive. So yay, the fish are alive. I can switch to serious aquaponics from a fish tank to actual aquaponics, growing fruits and vegetables out of this. Again, don't use water conditioner. I swear I changed my mind so many times. So I just realized that this is not going to work because this is not the Kratky system, unfortunately. The Kratky system does have one missing thing that I am not adding into this, and that is capillary system. So basically the plants sit in soil and the soil sits in the water, and therefore the water, the soil sucks the water up, and the roots are able to get air and water at the same time sitting in that soil. But if the roots are completely submerged in water, then they won't get any air. The only reason that they're doing okay so far is because they're above a bubbler. So yeah, change of plans. Okay, so at the risk of being called crazy, shoot. I am just about there. Gotta drop this plant down just a little bit, get its roots in the water. But I got the summer squash in there. Probably move the light up here again so that it aims more at the plants. I don't know, I gotta find a place for this light. But since we're going completely soilless, we can't go with the Kratky system. We're gonna need the bubblers. But that's okay. I can practice with the Kratky system later. This will mean that no more red muck at the bottom of my fish tank, because I can add the Aquaponics fertilizer to this tank. I will still be adding fish water from here to here, and probably at some point cycling that water back into there to conserve water, but at least this way it's a separate tank for that fertilizer. Now that I am going organic, because I am going to be growing these to eat, these winter summer squashes. These are my little babies here. Again, a couple of them, the fish ate their roots, and I did just have them out of the bubblers for about an hour or two while I figured all this out. But hopefully they'll make it. Anyways, now that I'm going to be going organic, I am going to be using, I'm not going to be using this product anymore, no more water conditioner. Unfortunately, I really love this stuff. I am going to just go ahead and fill up totes full of water, and I will leave those sitting for a week to get rid of the chlorine out of the tap water. So if somebody is saying that they're growing organic hydro, give them extra money for whatever it is that they're growing. I mean, this is this is nuts. Like, I had no idea what organic hydro meant. I knew it was better. I knew I liked it, but this right here though, it's worth a couple extra bucks. I'm just gonna say that. I'm sure once I get this down, it'll be awesome. Hopefully I can get this hooked up to solar. As you guys can see, we're getting the solar hooked up outside right now, but hopefully I can get a generator just for these bubblers and stuff like that, start getting some outdoor fish ponds and some outdoor organic hydro going with natural sunlight instead of these grow lights. But anyway, stay tuned, doing some cleaning on the fish tank. I guarantee this system wouldn't be as difficult if it was just hydroponics that I was doing, but because I'm doing aquaponics, I'm having to figure out how to reuse and recycle the water and not waste as much water. So I accidentally put the hydroponic fertilizer in here before I realized I was going to be doing this, but that's okay. I'll switch back to the aquaponics fertilizer. But what I'm doing right now is, again, I'm just filling up all these buckets with water so that they can sit for a week, get rid of the chlorine in them, so that I don't use any more of this water conditioner in this system, because we're going to be eating this squash. Now that I have my totes full of water ready to go, I am going to drain some of this water out of this fish tank, do my weekly water change out, Like I said, I'm not going to be doing the filter change out today. So we're going to close the out and open this valve down here. And that's going to suck the water out of the fish tank. And I'm going to take about 10 gallons of water out. And I'm going to put 10 gallons of clean water in. I'm still going to be using the water conditioner today, but it won't be going into my squash today. So we're good there. Next week, we'll be ready for some organic water. Now I've got the 10 gallons of water removed. Just filling up a tote right now with some tap water. I'm going to add this water conditioner one last time to this tap water so that I can add some water back in here. And while I wait for that, I am going to go ahead and scrub all this I believe Aquaponics fertilizer off of here, which will eventually end up being in this tank next time, which means I'm going to have to do some serious cleaning on this guy. Hopefully I get that second pump someday soon. I like to joke about organic because usually in landscaping and farming outdoors, that doesn't really come into play too much, except for herbicides and pesticides and stuff like that, but it usually definitely doesn't come into play indoors. But this stuff right here is not organic as far as I'm concerned. It says on the bottle it's not good for the fish to eat if we're going to eat the fish, so I'm assuming it's not good for the plants either. So I am going to be getting rid of using this. But if you're wondering if fertilizer means it's not organic, don't worry. Fertilizer is organic. It comes from the earth. It's not a chemical at all. All right. So while I wait that 5 minutes for that water conditioner, I will go ahead and clean off this glass. I just added some food right before I dropped the water levels, so that's why you're seeing these chunks of food sitting on the side. But my main concern is getting rid of this Aquaponics fertilizer. I think that it's the iron is probably like rusting in there. And this is just a weekly maintenance, so just did this last week. This week I definitely did not overfeed them, but I realize now that that was not the issue. Had nothing to do with how much I was feeding them. It had more to do with the fact that I started using Aquaponics fertilizer. So good to know. And that is one more reason why I'm going to have a separate tank for my plants and one for my fish. Now that I've gotten that all scrubbed off, I can go ahead and add my water in. Which I added the water conditioner to this bucket here. I'm just going to detach this, put this hose in here, and close the inlet and open this valve down here, and that will suck the water from here back in there and clear up this water. Hopefully I won't have this issue with the iron rust on the bottom if I stop adding the Aquaponics fertilizer to this tank. I mean, I will eventually be taking the water from that tank and putting it back in here to recycle the water, but hopefully most of that iron will get cleaned out before I do. Now that I have that tote added in, it's time to fill up another tote. Add my water conditioner, add that, and I'll probably be adding about 3 totes just because it was already low on water from evaporation. I took out 2 totes, and I can't really drain out the very bottom of this. I'm not going to lean it over in the corner this time. So probably add about 3 totes, but it's already starting to clear up a lot, and definitely doesn't have that red mud on the sides anymore. These guys are getting air. They're kind of like all jammed up into each other. with this big one's roots kind of helping keeping them all there. I know those are going to get kind of root bound up in there, but they'll be better than in one of those stupid cups. I do not like the cups. Soilless. Okay, just add my water conditioner, rinse off that cap and mix that around a little bit. Let that wait 5 minutes, and this time I'll just be taking a break because I've already got it all cleaned out. Aha, so I think I have a plan. Well, first of all, I got the lights set up a little bit better there. Not aiming at the fish and aiming more at the plants. And again, I really don't know if these are gonna make it. They are already getting a little bit wilty, but we can wish them luck. They don't even have roots anymore because the fish ate them, and they've been out of the bubbler for a while. I think they're getting bubbles. Might want to move this guy over here a little bit. Jeez Louise, Batman. They're so fragile. Anyway. I think I have an idea for getting the chlorine out of the water. If I put it in here first and wait a week, then I can put it into there. So if that makes any sense, I will use the water from here to refill the water in here. So when I take the water out of here, I'll put it into here, add the Aquaponics fertilizer. So it'll be sitting in here, taking the chlorine out, using up that fertilizer. Then I'll take it down 1/4 of a tank and add that water back into there. So there won't be any chlorine in there and hardly any fertilizer left in there to go back into the fish water, and that way I'll be recycling the water back and forth, getting the ammonia from the fish to help feed the plants. Time to add some more water back in. So we're gonna close the N and open this valve here. And that will take the water from this bucket and put it back into the fish tank. All right, just need a little bit more water in there. We'll have that all full. We will have our squash going. These are our little baby squash hanging from the ceiling. No fish in this one, just roots in this one. I'm going to be adding the Aquaponics fertilizer to this tank and just using this tank for fish, so no more red mud at the bottom of this tank. And now for just the last little tiny top off of the water here. This is the little bit tricky part with this flue ball pump, and I hope you guys get a flue ball pump and a 50-gallon tank and follow along with me. It's really fun. Pretty soon I'll be growing food in the wintertime. You know, it's easy to grow outdoors, but this is good for the wintertime. So what you do is you close your in valve, so that stops the water from sucking in from the fish tank. You open this valve here. That starts the suction of this water here because it's the pump is running. The pump's plugged in and it's running, and it's pumping water out of this hose into the fish tank. And because the pump's running and it's pumping it out, it has to suck it in from somewhere, and when this valve is opened up, it starts sucking it in from there. Now the trick to topping it off is just waiting and keeping an eye on it, because if you have the pump sucking in water and pumping it back into the fish tank, if you got a lot of water here, you could easily overflow your fish tank. If you don't have enough water here, you could easily be sucking in air into your line, and you don't want to do that because then this isn't airtight like it's supposed to be. So you got to keep an eye on both this and this. And as you see, it's sucking the water from here. This is going down. It was full and it's going down. It's filling up this tank. It was about here and now it's going up. And once it gets to the very top, just about there, you just shut this off right here. And that stops it from sucking in from the bucket, and open up this valve, and that starts it to suck in from there, from your intake, and then now it's doing that. Thanks for watching another edition of Aquaponics World. Hope everybody's enjoying the videos, and if you can, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. These videos do on Instagram get me monetization, and as soon as I get 1,000 subs, I'll be able to monetize on YouTube. So I really appreciate any subscribers out there. Tell your friends, share the videos. If you're into growing plants indoors, this is probably the cheapest way you can do it, no soil. So I got my baby squash here. These guys here, their roots are just barely in the water. The plant's outside of the water. Same thing with this guy. The plant's out of the water, the roots are in the water. Alright, see you guys next time.